Hi, my name is Andrew Kinney. I'm an attorney with DisabilityLawyer.com. I've done this work about 20 years, and what I wanted to do today in this video is talk about physical disorders. In other words, physical problems that affect your ability to work full-time. In Social Security disability insurance benefits claims and SSI claims, the ultimate question is what are your medical problems? And specifically, we can have what's wrong with you. We can have a diagnosis, but that's not enough. What Social Security needs to understand beyond that is how are you limited day to day? If someone has depression, for example, they can be limited in how they can concentrate. If someone has a low back problem, they can be limited in how they can bend, stoop, and twist, etc. What I'm going to talk about in this video are physical limitations that may affect your ability to work. A common one, to use an example to this video, is our low back problems. People can have any manner of problems with the low back. It can be mechanical low back strain. It can be worse. It can be fusions that fail. One way or another, our backs are involved in most of the physical things that we do. So when Social Security looks at your medical information, specifically your medical records, perhaps medical opinions from your treating doctors, in the end, what Social Security is doing is figuring out how bad is your back, what's wrong with it, how are you affected, perhaps in your legs, and how would it impact your ability to do full-time work. So as far as Social Security goes, the first thing that they generally look at when they see the medical records is, are you by definition disabled? If you can go online, you could look on Social Security's website and they'll be called listings. The listings of impairments are definitions of impairments or problems. The definitions lay out a lot of different things. Some physical problems, such as low back problems, are in the 1.00 listings, musculoskeletal. There are other listings too, cardiological for example, in the 4.00 listings. There's different law that applies to each medical problem. If you have a medical problem that's bad enough, Social Security might be able to pay you outright if you show the proof of it in the medical records. So in terms of low back, for example, if someone has an MRI and their low back reveals nerve root impingement and they have problems down one or both legs that are confirmed on neurological examination, that may be enough to prove you're unable to work in a way that makes it easier than for others. The definition of disability is just the beginning. If you are not defined as disabled by Social Security, you can still prove you're unable to do full-time work. So if we picture a hearing, and there's another video on what happens in hearings, but if you picture a Social Security hearing, the idea is that if a judge is listening to what's wrong with you physically, the judge needs to understand how long you can sit, walk, stand, how much you might be able to lift. How long you might be able to stand in a line before you need to sit down. Do you use a cane? Can you do chores around the house? Can you walk your dog? All these sorts of day-to-day activities reflect your ability to live your life despite the physical problems you have. Why does a judge need to know that? And even a bigger question, why does Social Security need to know all this? Well, if you were to be found disabled, they need to find evidence that you're unable to do the physical part of most any work. Some jobs that they think of don't require much physical work at all. For instance, there's a job called surveillance system monitor that comes up at hearings a lot, and your attorney can explain how it comes up. But the basic idea is that Social Security is wondering, could you hold a full-time job despite the physical problems you have? And that Social Security will, and here's the kicker, think of easy jobs physically, that whether you can do it or not. They don't care if the jobs are available, they only care if they exist in certain numbers. So as far as physical problems you have, it can be a low back, it can be cardiac problems, you can have a stroke with paralysis, you can have diabetic neuropathy. Whatever the physical problems you have, make sure you tell your doctor about what's wrong, and make sure your doctor documents on exam at each visit how a problem that you have is progressing. For instance, if you have diabetic neuropathy, it may be clear and obvious that you have it, but it's important when Social Security is looking at your medical records that they see examination results, particularly sensory exams, and with diabetic neuropathy, monofilament exams, so you can see in the medical record this sort of bread trail as to how your problems have gotten worse. If you have low back problems or any other sorts of problems, just make sure that your symptoms, you tell your doctor what's wrong, and your doctor documents what's wrong, and in fact, the goal is to get better, but at minimum, Social Security will have better information by the time you might get to a hearing. So this is a discussion about how Social Security looks at physical problems you might have. If you have any other questions, please feel free to look at our website, DisabilityLawyer.com. If there's anything we can help you with, please just give us a call. Thank you.